For today's video, let's go back to the original Red Dead Redemption to cover more unsolved mysteries. If you've played both Red Dead Redemption games, you're most likely familiar with this location. This cabin is called Tanner's Ranch, and although many encounters can take place around this cabin, it seems to be abandoned. But why? Its actual owner has never made an appearance in either Red Dead Redemption game. Although NPCs can be seen at a campfire on the property, the cabin itself is vacant. Inside, all we can find is some hunting trophies, opened bottles and cans, and a fireplace. However, the property appears to be well maintained, so that discards any notion of the owner being dead. But if they aren't dead, then why is there an unmarked grave just outside the house? This odd gravestone bears no name or information, and for many years, the Red Dead community has tried to figure out who's buried here. Some fans have theorized that it's a Sasquatch hunter from Undead Nightmare, mainly due to the fact that it is the only time that we see a person living there. But this theory doesn't hold up, since Undead Nightmare takes place in a completely different universe, and not to mention the fact the grave can still be seen in the cutscene. But others suggest that whoever lived there died of diarrhea. See, inside the house, a bottle of Nigel West Dickens elixir can be seen on the shelf near the fireplace. And according to a newspaper, one of the elixir's effects is a prompt and violent emptying of the bowels, suggesting it might have played a role in the former occupant's death. But there's simply no real evidence of this, and the elixir is likely just a reused prop. But there is one fan theory which I've never seen anyone talk about, one that might actually help us solve this mystery once and for all. The year is 1907. In the epilogue with John, we meet writer Evelyn Miller, one of Dutch's greatest idols. He's writing a book and staying in a cabin in tall trees, and this cabin is the same cabin that we can see in Red Dead 1. But this time, the property is in bad shape, which could signify that Miller was simply overlooking the grounds for the real owner. Later on, when John visits Miller's cabin, he's met with a foul stench. Breaking into the cabin, he discovers Miller's lifeless corpse. After retrieving his manuscript, John reads Miller's final request. He wishes to be burned rather than buried. John honors his request by setting fire to the curtains, which quickly engulfs the entire cabin in flames. The theory suggests that after some time, the owner of the cabin returned to check in with his caretaker, but what he found was a ruined property and Miller's charred remains inside. He then buried Miller out back and eventually rebuilt the cabin. This theory is the most likely explanation, but it's up to your own interpretation. But if true, it's finally revealed who lies beneath the unmarked grave.
The Blackwater Ghost is one of Red Dead Redemption's original myths. It was conjured into existence by an unknown player around 2012. Over time, and depending on who tells it, the details of the myth have shifted. In its earliest versions, the ghost was said to appear near the Blackwater Bank, one of the several locations where sightings are reported. Other versions of the story claim the ghost will speak to the player before vanishing into nothingness. Now, what the ghost says tends to vary depending on who's telling the story, but most versions widely agree that the ghost must have said something along the lines of, "Hey, I know you, you killed me before." However, no one has ever been able to see or hear anything like that while investigating Blackwater. This myth became popular when a lot of YouTubers started myth hunting back in the early 2010s.
Okay, so I've been hearing Blackwater, and I've been hearing about a myth.
And according to the latest accounts, the ghost now appears in random locations across Blackwater, saying things like, "I've seen you before," or "So we meet again," before vanishing. So it's quite clear this mystery has been around for a while. And in all this time, it remained just that, a myth. Something made up by the fan base. But what if I told you the ghosts might be real after all? Well, at least that's what Red Dead expert Kid Colt says in his video on this subject. He thinks that the Blackwater Ghost may actually be an unpatched glitch that can still be triggered even after 15 years. While recording footage of John crossing Tallulah Palace for his video, he noticed the NPC sitting outside the bank or walking near it disappeared each time he reached the other side. He also says that having high honor and fame plays a role in solving the mystery. He drew a connection between fame and the glitchy NPC spawns. Because the lines that are supposedly said by the Blackwater Ghost are all said by NPCs to the player when they have high honor and fame. And near the bank, one of these fame encounters can happen.
You're the man who intervened, saving my friend from great distress and hurt. It'd be an honor to reward you on his behalf, if I may.
So, his explanation was that many years ago, a player was talking near the bank, unknowingly triggered one of these chance events, and when they turned around to see the NPC talking to them, the glitchy spawn disappeared said NPC, thus creating the ghost story by accident. But there's only one problem with this theory, and that is that Colt has only a plausible explanation for this myth. No one's actually done everything he said to recreate the original glitch, not even himself. So we may never know the full truth behind the Blackwater Ghost, truly an unsolved mystery.
In both Red Dead Redemption games, we encounter many Native Americans throughout the storylines. And just like in real life, the native groups have been either kicked off their territories or killed off altogether.
My people aren't really a tribe. We're just a bunch of families, I suppose. But we're in Canada now.
This is not only shown in the main storyline, however, with this sentiment being shown all throughout the open world of Red Dead Redemption. But there's one abandoned camp that we seemingly don't have a backstory for. That is the abandoned settlement of Muscalero. Located just down the road from McFarlane's ranch, the abandoned settlement has several teepee frames and a strange rock formation in the middle of the camp. And interestingly enough, the line of stones extends out directly at the point of the rising sun. Now it's clear whatever happened to these people happened after 1907, since going back in Red Dead 2, we can't find any evidence of these people, meaning they couldn't have been at this camp for a long time. But we might have an answer to what happened to them. Let's jump into the beginning of the story. After saving John from certain death, Bonnie introduces her father, Drew McFarlane.
Lived here for 30 years now. Came here from the east. The land had never been settled. For 10 years, we fought the Indians. Tough men.
He explains that his family has had a long history of fighting against natives, and Muscalero's close proximity to McFarlane's ranch leads one to think that they were the natives Drew McFarlane was referring to, meaning they could have been completely wiped out from this fight with the McFarlanes. Another possibility is that they joined Dutch's gang, a gang made up of Native Americans who are easily manipulated by Dutch to fight the government. But as we know, we take out the entirety of Dutch's gang in the mission and the truth will set you free, meaning the people of Muscalero were still killed, but this time by the player. While there is a lot of evidence to back up these theories, we still don't have an answer to what happened to the people of Muscalero.